Hi everyone, it's Simon here. Hope you're well and having a great day. This is a review of RoadClub League Racing, a 2D top-down racing game that pitches itself as semi-simulation, semi-arcade, with some interesting traits and flicks to it. This game has been in early access since 2015 and was originally built in 2008. It comes out of early access tomorrow, and this is a review copy that was passed to me by the developer to go through what the launch version of this game will be as it comes out of early access. So there may be improvements that have come from it, but this is my view as of release day. The game itself has a lot going for it, and the first thing I want to talk about is the career mode itself for single player. So it's divided into 6 leagues or divisions, as the clue is in the name, and the idea is that you need to place in the top 2 in each season, which can be anything from 3 to about 7 or 8 races per season, depending on which division you're in. And if you place in the top 2, you get promoted to the next division, where faster cars and better drivers, in theory, are. If you're in the bottom 2, if you've already gone up a division or something, you will then get relegated back down again. The interesting thing about that is that not only are you racing against different drivers, but everyone's car is different and is entirely upgradable depending on your earnings and your results. You can buy new cars, you can buy old cars from scrap, but you can't upgrade them and replace them. But the idea is that you basically buy a car and you can tinker it. Each one has an initial grading between A and E, and then a numerical number next to it, which kind of defines how upgraded and like briefly spec something is. So the idea in theory is that a car that's got like B 750 next to it would be better than D 610. So you can kind of vaguely work out how your car is performance wise against everything else around you. And what you'll find is that you might go up a division but not necessarily have a car that can compete, and you'll be scrapping around towards the back to try and avoid relegation, and you might get pushed back down again and back up and so on and so forth. The AI itself has 4 different difficulties, and if you keep winning or losing, the game does say like, this might be too easy, or do you want to lower the difficulty, it's too hard? But it's in the nature of the actual game itself, is that because you're upgrading your transmission, your engine, your weight distribution, your nitro, your brakes, and just generally your handling in general for tyre grip, you only get that from earnings, so it might actually play to your benefit to keep coming third for a couple of seasons, so that you can then make your car really, really decent and then make like a mounted challenge to progress. There's different tactics to it, and it depends on your driving style itself. The game though subscribes to what it says is semi-simulation handling physics, but it subscribes to a way of driving or way of doing physics that I don't necessarily like or agree with. And this is make everything handle like a garbage truck and call that simulation. Every car has its own difference, and there is a front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, and a four-wheel drive like type of car, which I really enjoy because you can tell the difference between them, and I really like that. But the brakes are non-existent, the cars are too fast for the tracks themselves, and the cars don't turn very effectively at all, and it's really, really floaty. And the cars, if you've got a handbrake, but I barely used it throughout the game ever because it just spins you immediately to a grinding halt. And then you have to kind of wait for the gears to kind of go back and then go again. So it's counterintuitive, and it's never the fastest way to use the handbrake. So you end up basically, as you start upgrading the cars, to just feather the throttle down the straights and just like let it coast into a corner, which it's almost like you're doing fuel saving in an F1 game. It's a really weird way of getting like round the track fastest, but it was the fastest way to get round. This might come across as simulation for some people. I think it comes across as just things handling poorly and then going, it's simulation because it's difficult. It doesn't necessarily mean that because it's difficult and awkward to drive, that's a simulation game, if that makes sense. For some people this won't be a problem. For me it was, because it took away the enjoyment of something. And what it meant was that actually sometimes I found it easier to have a rubbish car, upgrade it to its fullest potential so that it kind of hit the middle spot, because that then meant that it could handle going around corners much better than something that was like souped up for going great down a straight but then couldn't get around a corner because you're already having to brake halfway down the straight and hope for the best, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's a bit of balancing issue that I think needs to be sorted out there as well. Outside of upgrading the car though, what I also really liked was that you could upgrade the systems that get put onto the car. So not all cars start off with nitro boost or traction control, or like anti-lock brakes was another thing that you could add on, so that it makes the cars better. So you always, like when you buy a car, you have its worst experience ever. So you start adding stuff on. And then there was stuff around performance transmissions that you could start adding in as well, which meant that you could start to alter the ratio of how quick something was in terms of acceleration versus top speed. And that did go a little way towards helping out some of that balancing issue. And you can change it between races. So once you know kind of what the seasons are, because it never tells you what the races are before you kind of are in them, but they don't change. So once you've seen what a season is like, you're like, right, well, this race I'll be fine with X, Y, and Z. There's also 4-player local split screen, which is great, and very much enjoyed that. There is also a track editor, which is yay for me. So the track editor works exactly the same as the Gene Rally track editor, if anyone's ever done that. So it's like playing with paint. You select a paintbrush, you select its size, you draw out your tracks, kind of draw around what grass or banks or whatever it is that you want to have for terrain elsewhere around it. And the terrains really do make a difference, as do weather effects in this game, which I really approved of and liked. And then essentially what I really liked about the track editor was that you then get to basically draw out the nodes the AI are going to race to get around a circuit. So if you think, right, well actually I want to really perfect some of the AI lines going round, you can sit there and play with each node and try and make it so that the AI really is as effective as it could be. And then you can slot in checkpoints so that no one can basically just go like reverse, forward, done a lap, ta-da! So they'll have to pass through certain checkpoints to be able to get to something. What I found though is that in the actual circuits themselves, in the game shipped with the game, that the checkpoint system is sometimes very lenient, because some of the AI are made up to be quite aggressive. Some of them are not. And it depends on the driver and the name. And I quite like that, because each one seemed to have its own personality. And some of them would ram me off the track. And I was like, damn it, Pastor, stop. And yeah, what happened was that actually sometimes it would ram me off the track and I'd end up on another part of the track. And then I was like, it still thinks I'm leading. And it would count that lap. So you can stop that by when you actually make your own tracks as well. They can then be uploaded to the Steam Workshop, which is great. And then you can start sharing them, downloading them, play with other people's creations, do local multiplayer stuff, or online lap leaderboards as well. So that was good. There's one other thing that I wanted to mention, and it's a thing called a smart camera. And the idea around this was that the camera itself will zoom in and out depending on what it thinks you should be most excited about. So if you've got lots of cars on track that are right next to each other, it will zoom in slightly so that you can then like have precision battles. Not that you can be too precise with this game because it's so floaty. But what I was finding is that sometimes it feels a bit floaty with the camera because it's busy going in and out, and sometimes it does it when you're just about to approach a hairpin and you're like, no, I want to be able to see the corner. So I believe you can turn that off to a degree and have it quite static, and you can have different zoom modes in terms of camera height out from the game itself, which was good. But yeah, I found the smart camera to be a little bit off-putting sometimes, because it would get sometimes it would get fixated on the leader rather than me, and I'm like, bring the camera down just a little bit, please. So yeah, that was a bit annoying. Also, final shout out, really did like the soundtrack as well, which is made by Zircon, who has lots of the stuff on Bandcamp, which I may have already bought. So yay for chiptune, late 80s, early 90s, cheesy synth pop. So yeah, for me, Road Club League Racing is a bit of a mixed bag. There's a lot here to like. and I can see a lot of other people really enjoying it. So I don't want to be down on the game itself, because actually you can see that a lot of love has been put into it, and there's a lot of things that are done right. For me though, the handling issue, alongside the ping-ponging that happens between divisions, where you'll be too good for one division but then too bad for another division, it made it slightly awkward for like the career progression, and it's only 6 leagues and then you're done. So actually, like, whilst I really enjoyed the division kind of gameplay element, you can do it quite quickly and get the game out of your way within an hour with ease. So yeah, lot to love. Potential for some really great stuff on the Steam Workshop with tracks as well to really make the game's longevity increase, but not one that I will personally be diving back into as part of my rotation of racing games, because I'm sure there's Garbage Truck Simulator out there for the really understeery floaty handling. So thank you very much for watching. Hope that was informative. Yeah, it's out on Monday from early access if you fancy picking it up. Take care. Bye. This channel is just one of my many projects that cover games, music and film. If you enjoy any of these and would consider supporting me to develop further in the future, you can do so by visiting patreon.com/Satorimon. Thank you for your time and for watching the video.